It's great to welcome Eli Lopian. I hope I pronounced your last name correctly to the podcast. He's a businessman and a tech entrepreneur, I suppose. He, he's the CEO of Typemock, and he authored a very interesting book called AICracy, Beyond Democracy. I'm having the subtitle here, The Quest for a New Governance Paradigm. Eli, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great, I'm fine. But you pronounced my last name correctly, but my first name is actually Ellie.
Ellie. Okay.
So yes, so
Okay.
that's
So Ellie Lopian.
and yeah, thank you. And yeah, so I'm an entrepreneur. I also write music. I like doing things in the art as well. So I'm like I don't only just do business. I like the creative part of
Mhm.
designing and making new tools and stuff for people to make their life better. And yeah, so this is a AICracy is like a combination between both the entrepreneur world of the AI, which I've been dealing with, and the social, part of that feeling and how to create a society that's also very humane and very something that people can live in. So it's kind of like that's the two kind of parts that I'm trying to connect with this book here.
All right. Yeah. So, what kind of music do you make?
Oh, it's my own music. It's based more or less rock, but I'm trying out different things right now. Um,
Okay.
some kind of Oriental stuff, some kind of gospel I've been doing lately.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I notice if anyone's watching on video, there's this guitar on the background there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, tell me about the company that you founded, or is the CEO of Typemock.
So the company is basically we've been doing AI for quite some time now. We're a company that finds bugs in other people's software. So we have customers like big banks and other big software companies that use our tool to find bugs before they go out to the public. It uses intensive AI and fuzzy logic. So we've been at this for quite some time. We have a few patents down our sleeve. Um, and it just makes people, developers' life easier when, instead of trying to look for those bugs, it actually points it out for you and does it. It's part of the Agile movement, which was the movement driven by developers in the past. And there was a thing called unit testing and automating that part of the systems. That's where it actually came from.
Mhm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned before we
But we're
start.
actually here, I think,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
actually here to, I think, to discuss the book, which is, I think,
Of
more
course.
interesting.
Of course. Yeah. I'm leading up to that. So,
Okay.
yeah. Before starting the program, you said you're based in Tel Aviv, and yeah, since you're also an tech entrepreneur and CEO, it reminds me of this book that I read some time ago, Startup Nation, right? Dan Senor and Saul Singer. So you're part of
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yeah, I guess I'm part of that.
Okay, well, so we're getting into the book as per your request. So what interests you about AI in general?
So AI was actually my dream as a little boy when I got my first computer. My father bought this Sinclair Spectrum 48K, and he said, "This is going to be the future. It's like the machine that can do anything. You just have to program it." And I really caught to that. And my dream there was that the computer can do all those things that you don't want to do, that I don't want to do, all those mundane stuff that we waste our energy on. It's something that I wanted the computer to do for us. That was my dream. And then I can focus on what I really like doing, on creating things and developing things. I think my take of technology is that technology is supposed to shorten the time from the idea, the concept of the idea, to the actual practicality of it being materialized. And as technology goes faster and grows and grows, that time between thinking I want to make this city with huge skyscrapers to actually realizing and making it possible gets shorter and shorter. So this is what my idea of the when I first connected to these computers when I was a young boy. This is what my dream, and now it's coming true. It's really exciting.
All right. Yeah, it's incredible. And what inspired you to write the book?
Okay, so basically, sitting with my friends in this bar, night after night, and everybody's complaining about politics all the time, and people going to demonstrations and stuff. And I don't like demonstrations. It's bad energy. It's people shouting about something that is not happening, which is the opposite to what I think. I think people should be either, some things, creating stuff or doing stuff that helps people go forward. But going and screaming about this is not what going our way is something that is useless in my opinion. Um, and people, saying why aren't you going to to these rallies? Like it's not something that I do. And they said, what are you going to do to change stuff? And I thought about it and I say, okay, what does Ellie do to change stuff? I invent new paths. So it's kind of like these people are like sitting on this train, and this is politics because it's people just shouting at each other. People sitting on this train, and they're screaming at each other. One says that the left side is the best side to sit because you get the best views, and the other says that the right side is the best place to sit because you get a nice sun from the it's the sun side, and basically the train is going the wrong direction. There isn't even a track going to the place where you want to go to. And these people are shouting and nobody's listening. So my idea is to, okay, let's see where you want to go to, and let's make those tracks to get there. It's harder work because you have to make these tracks and make a train to go there. But this is my idea. So that's when I thought to myself, okay, what am I doing about this? And I got this idea, this new government where all the flaws of democracy, which democracy is good, but it's kind of like lived out its life right now. And all the flaws of democracy, which I mentioned in the book, the whole chapter about that, are solved in some kind of a way. And we can get to a really better society where people are happy and people have more abundance, and they have a feeling that things are more fair to them. And that's when I came up with this book, with this idea that instead of having humans govern us in some kind of way, all of us can join this AI that he will help govern us. He will give us look at the society as a whole and say these are the things that you're supposed to do in order to have more abundance in your society.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that since you live in Israel, the politics of that country can be quite contentious.
True, true.
Yeah.
But I've seen it all around the world. Before I read this book, I had this conversation with lots of my friends, some from America, some from England, some from Italy, and the feeling is that it's the same. Maybe here it's a bit more harsher, but I get this feeling that all around the world, um, people are not really happy with the democracy they're getting. I mean, look at Nepal, look at France right now. I mean, they're not really happy with what's happening in their countries, and they have democracy. So something is not working, and this is a kind of a blueprint to try to get things working again. I think we need a new kind of paradigm now. Now that we have social media, and now that we have um, um, all these things that democracy can't really handle, people from outside affecting people's thoughts and ideas. We need to find a new way to, and this trust in government has gone down really low. We need to find a new way to go to the next stage.
Okay. I see. All right. So, before we do that, what do you think people want from, politics and their governments in general?
Well, they want security. They want to trust them. They want to feel that the government is helping them. People pay a lot of money in taxes. They want to see that they're getting stuff back again, and they want to live a happy life. People want to have abundance. They want to be happy. They want to live in a place which has all those things together. They don't want to feel that special groups are getting more attention and resources than other groups. They don't want to feel that they don't trust the government and they're not sure that what's happening behind the scenes and where all this power is going to. Um, it's basically, like people felt from the French Revolution, you have all these things and everything, they're taking all the money and everybody's working for that. They're not really getting anything in return for it. I think these are the things that people are looking for. They want to And it's going to be even more complicated now that AI is actually going to change the workspace. It's going to change the way that the economy is going to act. It's going to be even worse because people are going to find less jobs or jobs that, don't get in the same amount of resources than they used to have because AI is taking this. And that's going to be really frustrating for people. And we need to really know this is going to happen and find solutions to it now before it actually happens.
Mhm. See.
So
Yeah.
basically, both I think people are looking for that, and we have this big red danger coming towards us with the AI, which I think is great. I think that people are gonna have to change their jobs to jobs that suit them more, and that they'll be able to be creative within this newer world that we're going to. But it's going to take people some time to realize that they can do that and how to do that, and that could be a really challenging times. What do
Yeah,
you think about what people want from the government?
I see. Well, on the surface, it seems like people want contradictory things, right? They want freedom, but they also want equality. They want to, have less government intervention in their lives, but at the same time, they would rather keep the government welfare programs that they have been receiving. So that and more. Um, and political parties have used this sort of seemingly contradictory desires to their advantage. There's one party that proposed one basket of goods, and another party proposed another basket of goods. Both are good, but the one party just says that the other basket of goods that the other party is proposing is not good, it's dangerous, and so on and so on. Um, now, what I believe to be a solution that can harmonize all of these goods is the idea of a common good. So, what is good for the majority, or if not every member of the polity, that does not affect their interests at all. So,
Yeah,
determining what is the common good is perhaps the future of politics that can bridge partisan divides and transcend political differences.
that's true.
Mhm.
That's true. I like the tension actually. I like that tension between these different values that people have. And in the way that I see the government is that that tension still stays, but you don't have to choose a party. People, when they vote, they choose the policies that they want. They can say, okay, it's like they have this there's like a rhythm to this to government. Every 3 years, there's a rhythm that people can choose, and they can say, okay, this 3 years, I want more social funds because this is what I think is needed in this country. And there's some who can vote, no, actually, in these 3 years, I want to have more freedom of, less social funds and more freedom, and if I succeed, I'll get more, and if I fail, I'll get less. The people can actually choose that, and that can be really dynamic. And also in my in the blueprint of AICracy, people can offer ideas all the time to this government because it's a computer, so you don't really have to go through the normal channels anymore. People can go up to the computer and say, I got an idea for a new law. For example, let's behave like they do in Norway, and every fine is just a percentage of your income, and it's not one rate. Because one rate is okay, but the poor people, for them, it's harder to pay this $100 fine. And for the really rich people, it's nothing, the $100 fine. So they'll just keep on doing whatever, driving fast or whatever. And that can be a proposal that a person can put into the computer, and the AI can say, actually, that's a good idea. And he can do that process that he's supposed to do, and that might become a law. So you don't have to rely just on the people that you choose as representative to yourself. Because nowadays with the technology, we can have everybody putting in ideas into this government. And if the government doesn't accept the idea, he'll give you the reasons why not. He say this is good, but it's going to cost too much to implement and whatever, and it's not really helping. He'll give you the whole list of why this idea is not good, and you can go back and think about better ways to do that. So there's a more communication. It's more like the old-fashioned way that the government used to be when you were a little tribe of 20, 30 people and everyone would discuss things. And you'd have a leader there who would actually choose at the end, but everybody could propose ideas there. So it's flipping this who writes the laws and who guides the policies into a really democratic way, and less of I got a representative, I'm going to trust him, and let's see what he does in the next 4 years, and then complain about why things are not working in the way that you want it to work.
Yeah, so you've alluded to these, but what do you find to be the most pressing challenges that democracy in general is facing?
Um, well, I think one of the big things is the data that we get. Nowadays, it's really, really hard to know what is true and what is not true, and who are the people or the pushing these ideas. I mean, we've seen it um, with Brexit, that it turned out that there was this big company that was using Facebook's data to convince people, using their data to choose the way that they wanted to choose, and people didn't know about this. It's just like those data where Coca-Cola had this advertisement where they used to put in every 24 frames in a 24 frame per second one picture of Coca-Cola in the movie, and you didn't realize that you saw it, but then the Coca-Cola price, sales just skyrocketed. That became illegal, you know. So the same thing, people are, they have these entities using social media as a way to affect people's thoughts, and that's kind of like that's one of the biggest things that is harming democracy, because we want people to choose based on their belief systems and what will make them happy, and not what other people have convinced them to do based on their social data. We have groups of people that are uh, affecting the government laws, and we don't know about them. They're lobbying around, and they're have these groups of people have strongholds within the government, and we don't know about them, but they have a lot of control on the government, and this is still something that we don't really want as a nation. We want everything to be overseen and open, so we know that people aren't doing gray area businesses and stuff like that. So there's quite a few points that are that are problematic to the democracy nowadays. I think I mentioned two of these, quite a few more. But these, I think, are the pressing ones.
Okay, that's it. Yeah, so the problem is basically information, where you get the information from, and whether that can be verifiable.
Yeah, yeah. And how that affects that, you're choosing once every 4 years or whatever, a group of people, and how does that affect you? That they can in one place, convince you to do things that maybe you didn't even want to do.
Yeah, I noticed that starting in 2016, it is the concern about like misinformation or information that's not true, you know, became like skyrocketed, right? Those
Yeah.
people who are, say, advocates of freedom of speech will say, well, we can have an open market of information, but then those who are less salient about it would say that, well, how can we choose between information that's true and what's not? It's basically the dawn of the printing press all over again.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I do have a few ideas about how to do this in a better way. It's out of the scope of the book, but one of the things that thing interesting is that truth is much slower than lies. Basically, the saying goes that the lie traveled around the world twice before the truth even tied its shoelaces. And I think that people can use that idea in the algorithms of how social media works, and they can mark things that move like untruths move, and how things like truth moves to give it a better value. I portray that idea in the book in some way, but basically this is something that needs to be solved as a society, and I think we can get there in some kind of way. But it's true, this is a really big problem.
So what do you say common people, lay people like me, misunderstand about artificial intelligence?
Okay, I think the first thing that that most people misunderstand is that it's not intelligence right now. It's just a very clever algorithm. It doesn't have a conscious, and it's quite far from a conscious. It might behave as if it has a conscious, but it doesn't really have a conscious. Um, if you look at the newest um, ideas of what consciousness is, even if it's not a place in our mind, but it's the sum of all the things, you still need to have those emotions to make this conscious, actually seeing things, actually going out and feeling things. And these are things that can happen only if you actually are there alive and have communication with the outside world. And AI is just using data on the internet right now. So it can act as it does, but it doesn't really have it. And basically, it's a very clever algorithm that just takes text and prints out text which it thinks is it's the most suitable one. It's amazing, but it's just that right now, and so it's less scary than what people think. It's amazing what it does, but it's less scary than what it does. It's currently leading people to a very vanilla kind of thought, because if you don't know the subject, you'll get 80% truth and 20% stuff that you don't know that it's not true um, because it's don't know about the subject, and it always gives you the vanilla kind of answers, and unless you actually put into it your own kind of spices, that's what you're going to get. So it's a tool to help you get things faster, but it's not the final word right now. Um, you can see they're very good in images. You make this image, and then it just doesn't do it right. There's something really small that's wrong, and trying to fix that is really hard. You need to, if you know how to do that, you can just do it and fix it easily. But it gets you to the 80% of the way. Um, I have people, in my company, they take the AI code and they put it straight in, and you can always see that that something's wrong there. And if you take it just as a way to get forward and change it to the structure that you want, it becomes much better.
Okay. Well, so here's another technical question. What is the difference between an algorithm and an intelligence?
Between algorithm and human intelligence,
Or
or something
intelligence
like,
in
or
general?
intelligence in general. Um, it's kind of philosophical. I'm not really sure if I have the answer to that um, right now. I'll have to think about that. I don't really have an answer to what's the difference between the two. There might not be a difference at the end, as long as there's emotion within it. But emotion could also be something which is some kind of algorithm. So I'm not really sure about that.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so since I mentioned the failures of governance, I think one of the most evident of these failures have been exposed in the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't think any government in the world has managed the pandemic and its consequences to the best of their abilities. Like democracies fail, non-democracies also fail. So, what are some ways in which the use of AI can better prepare us for, say, the next pandemic, if that ever happens?
Um, that goes, I think, through quite a few areas. First of all, I think maybe with AI we can see them faster. We'll be able to something like that. Um, Maybe we'll be able to give better solutions to it than just being scared to scare people out. Uh, but I think in a general, if you take AI as that place where it makes laws and it helps become a better society, you might be able to get the data of really what's the best thing to do to, on one hand, save lives that need to be saved, on the other hand, allow the freedom. So, for example, government, they say you have to wear a helmet when you ride a motorbike, okay? And you could say, I don't want to listen to it. I want to ride a motorbike, with the freedom without my helmet. And if there's an accident, I'll become a vegetable, so what? And the government says, no, but you becoming a vegetable will mean that we need to take care of you. We don't want this. So you have to wear a helmet. So it's kind of like there's like that balance over there. So I'm sure that with the AI getting all the information and not having be able to make a better choice, or at least help uh, governments make a better choice than they used to do. Just like Waze has more information about traffic and it can guide you and get you to a place faster because it knows more than you. It uses some kind of algorithm there. If the AI has all the data needed, it'll be able to get us to where you want to go in a better way. Saying that, people are also driven by emotions and not just by logic, and people might be scared, and it might be really good to tell the people, you know what, stay at home for 2 weeks until we gather things out. We don't want to, having millions of people dying here. We don't have enough information right now. Let's just put that helmet on just to make sure that things are getting better. So yeah, and what's nice to think about this idea is that I don't really know what the AI is going to say because I don't have enough, data. Just like I don't know which way Waze is going to bring me to a place. It's sometimes like 90% of the time I can know, but sometimes it just goes completely different way, and at the end it turns out to be true that there's something happening there that I didn't know about. So I don't really know what it's going to say, and that's what's interesting about it. You give this to this machine, and if it works correctly, and you had the whole system designed like the way that one of the ways that I proposed that there's no monkey business going along, it might give you data answers that we didn't even think about.
So give us an overview of what AICracy looks like.
Okay, so the AICracy is basically um, three AI systems, each one with a different algorithm, with a different company, each one managed by a different party. One probably the ruling party, one would be the opposition, and one would be some kind of NGO. And they get data on the society that they want to help become more abundant. And they spit out laws, right? This is basically what they do. They give different kind of laws to help the society get what they requested and to make them have a bigger abundance. These laws at the end will have to be voted on by the chosen representatives, but a chosen representative is not allowed to create any law by themselves anymore. It has to go through this AI system to make sure that it's fair, to make sure that it actually helps with making people happy and having more abundance, and doesn't do the opposite. It doesn't give one group more than another group and stuff like that. So this is basically the process that things happen there. There's three AIs that have to all reach the same results. If it doesn't, there's some kind of a mistake, and you have to check why the mistake. Is somebody messing with the algorithm? Is somebody feeding one AI the wrong data in order to promote his own different agendas? So that's why we have three different AIs over there. And once this rule has been voted, then it becomes a part of the system. Now, as I said, anybody can vote, add an idea, request for a law to be passed. Each law that passed has really an output of what is the expected outcome of this in the terms of the abundance that we're talking about. And if it doesn't agree to what one of the government requested, they can have a kind of a conversation. You can say, okay, to change the law to make it better and stuff like that. And it will make better laws for everybody. It will also make sure that what it expected to happen actually does happen. And if it doesn't, it won't. If they expected this new fine system that will be a percentage of your income to make sure that the crimes committed by each level, each level of society are equal, it will see that in 2 years it actually happens. There's also kind of like a rhythm to this government. Every 3 years you do vote for policies. You don't vote for, you vote for what's representative, but you vote for the policies that you're looking for. If you want to have a more of a social policy or more of a different kind of policy, that's what you vote for once every 3 years. And once every decade, once every 10 years, people vote for a big goal for the country, like reaching Mars, like solving cancer, like stuff like that. And politicians have to up this idea. You have to have people pushing for this idea. It's a very human idea thing to do, and people will vote on it. But again, the computer is not going to push these ideas. It has to become, it has to come from the society. So every once in a while, somebody can say, "This is what I want to do in the next decade." They can push for it, and at the end there's a vote, and then the AI would output these laws and make sure there's enough funding for these big ideas to actually happen.
Okay.
In a nutshell.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously there are certain issues that may potentially arise from that. One is so let's suppose the AI council, the three-member council, proposes a set of, say a set of laws that they believe is best for them. But then, of course, they give everyone the freedom to choose between the sets of laws that they think would be best for them. So the AI has an opinion on what set of laws would work best, but the demos, the people pick another. So I suppose there's a certain conflict of interest between, the citizen body and the artificial intelligence council. So how can that be resolved?
So what do you say, Artificial Intelligence Council? Um, what I suggest is a council that what they do is to check that the AI is actually producing good results. They don't have any other way not to change the algorithms and not to affect the AI in any sort of manner. Anyway, the only thing they do there is to make sure that there's no conflict between the different AIs and that nobody's meddling with the system and that the laws that are coming out they seem like they're okay. And that's the only thing that they're doing. It's like an IT kind of system. They don't produce laws. They don't tell the AI what to do laws, and they don't do anything else. They're just making sure that this system as a whole works correctly. Um, so they don't really have effect on this kind of on this kind of thing. Um,
Yeah.
it's not the AI that suggests what you vote about. It's you every 3 years have a list of between different policies that you can choose, and you say these are the policies that I want
Uh-huh.
in this coming 3 years. And again, it's going to be a tension there. It's going to be. I like the tension. It's good to have a tension between these two things, and even within these laws, still the AI has to always make sure that within the data that he's getting, that the abundance of this nation is rising all the time. People are happier.
Okay. Huh. The second question would be, to what extent should we worry about an AI-powered social credit system like what the People's Republic of China is implementing?
Um, I'm actually scared. I'm really terrified from social media much more than from AI. I think that's what makes people not think. That's what makes people not criticize and not be on the edge of things. And AI for me, it's great because it's actually a tool that helps me get things done, as I said beforehand. But social media is really dumbing us people, and this is something that is worrying. And so actually having a social credit isn't something that I really think goes together with making abundance and making people feel happy. I think it's gonna downgrade that. Uh, Saying that, there are some places where you do have to have some kind of a social marking. I mean, somebody who I don't know who raped before or some of that. You should have kind of a warning on the right places that this person might be dangerous. Of course, you can have a time there where this mark gets released after a certain amount of time, but there's some things that you do need to uh, put out in the right places, and some things that you don't at all. And having a social media marking like a credit score isn't something so good because there's no way to actually rectify it. Uh, It's problematic, I'd say.
Yes. Okay. And how do you suppose the use of AI can help deal with online social media misinformation?
How can you help deal with it?
Yeah.
I think that people, especially with AI taking lots of jobs are going to really have to deep search for themselves. And I think that one of the things that the governments should give is the right for every person for a coach. It could be an AI coach and it can be a human coach, which together they can analyze, what really gets this person off, what's really his passion for life, and to help them get started with that. And I think that's where AI can really help us as a society, not in the social media, but as somebody you can actually discuss um, what you want to get out of this life, what do you really want to do, and what really turns you on, what's the things that you can do that makes you actually happier. You know, I think that's a place where AI can really help people see the life as a whole, see what triggers them and what makes them happy, and tell them you should actually help people, or you should make music. It's something that really is something that will make you feel good about yourself, or you should open a restaurant because you just love seeing those people eating food and enjoying themselves. And it could be like completely different things and things that you didn't even think about.
Um, so how can we ensure that artificial intelligence is not going to supplant or replace political leadership, which I believe is can only be done by humans?
Um, so the question is, how do you make sure it doesn't. Maybe I'll ask the question in a different kind of angle. Is how do we make sure we don't become a heartless society ruled only by laws that are supposed to make life easier and more productive?
Yeah,
And I think
technocracy,
yeah,
basically. Yeah.
exactly. And I think the idea is that the goal of this AI is to make abundance and people feel happier, is something that once it's embedded within the roots of the system, we won't let it happen, because people are not going to be happier if they have to be a part of this huge system and have no way to express themselves. And that marking, that score is going to go down if that happens. And the computer will have to recalibrate itself and make sure that it actually happens. So the whole root of this abundance score, which is people having more resources and using it in a place to make them happy, is a part of the 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 actually the root of the framework of this AI system, and he's trained to do that, to get that mark higher and higher. If you have that in place, then I think, and making sure that this keeps on happening, then we won't get to that place. If we just like Albania say we're going to have a minister who's AI, um, you might not get to that good place. You might get to a place where you have, just this AI is going to see you as a system and say everybody has to do one, two, three to get this system better. And it won't, because people need to be creative as humans. We need to go to the edge, try new things. And that's how we expand as a society. So that will have to continue to grow. I don't think it's going to happen. People are not going to really want that to happen.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think so either. Um, you've alluded to this before, but how can we hold the artificial intelligence part of governance accountable?
So it has to be accountable. I think that one of the things to make sure it's accountable is that everything it does is written in a way that people understand why this law, how is it going to affect that. I said it before, how this law going to affect society, and how is it going to raise that abundance score. So it's there all the time. People can look at it all the time. It's really open, that kind of thing. Um, the algorithms can be completely open to everybody to see, because there's nothing in the algorithm that can be fishy, or something that is just um, taking the data and putting it into a way that make us more abundant. Um, Still, the government is the end that we choose. The representatives are going to vote on this at the end. So they're also accountable for this. They don't have to say, yes, I agree to everything. So you have people accountable as well. Um, I wouldn't allow AI to judge humans in any sort of manner. It might help judges see if they're biased or create better judgments, but AI is never allowed to judge a human being. Only humans are allowed to judge human beings. That's another thing that to make sure that we don't go to that place where um, so there's a whole system of ways to make sure that this thing doesn't happen.
Mhm. Okay. Um, yeah. So, what do you consider to be the primary responsibilities of a political leader?
Um, I'm wondering to myself, what are the responsibilities nowadays of this political leader? And I'm not really sure that I have an answer for that right now. Let me try to think about it. Um, they are there to, to help. Well, when they run for the presidency, or the leadership, they have promises that they give to their nation in order nation to get to a better place. And I think this is what leaders are supposed to do. They're supposed to lead the nation to a place which is better for them, depending on different areas. Yeah. But yes, this is their responsibility. It's like the father of a family or the leader of a tribe. You have to make sure that the tribe still survives and that people are happy there. There's not too much uh, place for anger. There's ceremonies when it's supposed to be there. This is it's something like that. You go back, if I take it back to the tribal kind of place where you were in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And
What do you think is the responsibility of a leader? It's interesting.
yeah, I've been thinking about this too. Of course, it depends on whether this leader is democratically elected or not. One thing I noticed too is that even in democracies, there are people, some of the most revered leaders are not democratically elected, like the Pope or the Dalai Lama, or previously the Queen, Queen Elizabeth II. And they're absolutely revered figures and they're absolutely respected by everyone in the world. But one thing you might notice that they're not democratically elected. Um, in the case of, say, the Pope, he's very limited in his election. Only a handful of people in the entire world can vote for him. Um, but nevertheless, I'd say that the the awareness of one's responsibility as, say, a first amongst equals is the starting point for anyone to accept political leadership. And the idea that you're not supposed to be too eager to receive the mantle of leader. Like the ones that I find to be all too eager to be leaders are the ones that you're supposed to be most wary of.
I think it's a really bad job to become a leader of a country. Personally, I think it's you're working really hard and you're not really getting much in return. It's a very ungrateful job. Uh, I wouldn't personally want to want to do that, but well, I understand what you're saying. You want to choose those people who don't want to be chosen. That's again that kind of tension that we live in and we like in our life.
Oh yeah, yeah. And so yeah, I asked about the primary responsibilities. How can artificial intelligence assist in these responsibilities?
So that's easy. As I said, because it has more data and it has more thinking power than us, it can show us things that we don't see. It can uh, take different laws from other countries and see what works there and implement it. It can see what's not working and raise flags and saying this is a bad law. It's not really doing anything, or it's an old law. Here's a way to have how to fix it. It can do lots of things to help us um, remove bureaucracy, create jobs, and make life better for us. Much more than politicians who some of them don't are not really, they're just politicians and they get these jobs that they're not really suitable for, and sometimes they don't have enough data or ways to know how to run these things. So yeah, AI as somebody who just sits in creating a better place can really help. And again, it's a tool, right? It's like when they found metal, they made plows and you have better yield from your field, but they made swords as well. And so fighting became more devastating. It's a tool. It can be used for both ways. It can be used to hack people and to steal their money in the same way. So as a tool, it can help in both ways. It's a choice of us as a society how we're going to use these tools. But yeah, that's for sure. That's happening right now.
Yeah. So this alludes to one of my previous questions about whether the definition that, say, the populists have for, say, a better society can match with or conflict with the artificial intelligence, the three-member AI body that, legislative body that you suggested, perceive as better for the society. Um, so when such a conflict happens, and we can all have these conflicts, right? The most simple of which is that, the conflict on whether you want to lose weight or you want to have the next, McDonald's cheeseburger or something. And if you magnify that to a large scale, how can that conflicts be harmonized?
Um, I think I like these conflicts. I think conflict is something that there are some conflicts that we don't want to solve. We want that tension all the time. And some of these things are like eating this hamburger because you're hungry and you just broke up with your girlfriend and you want it, and saying, no, now I need to take care of my body and I'm going to go swimming instead. And this is what makes us human. I think these aren't things that we want to solve and have an AI tell us what to do all the time, because that's going to get that technocratic place that we don't want to get to. And that's going to make us less human. I like these conflicts. I think they're good. I don't think they're bad. I don't think something we need to push to the side. We have to see it, and you make your choice, and you're going to live with the choice that you make right now. Okay? And if you need help, society will come and help you if you request for the help. We're not going to push it down your throat. But if you say, listen, I had too much McDonald's, move the McDonald's away from me, you say, no, this is not the way we behave as a society. If you don't want McDonald's, just don't eat it, and we'll help you. We can give you this person to help you lose weight. We'll give you a coach to help you go swimming every morning or whatever. And this is not something that I think should go away. And we look at the macro level, the same thing. If everybody says we want to have a more social work, we want to have more social society, and that means that we're taking money from the richer person and giving it to the poor people, trying to in some kind of a manner. Um, that's what's going to happen. People are going to be working, and if somebody says, "I don't want to go and live in this country anymore because you're taking my money," that's your choice, right? Uh, and this is thing that can happen. It's not bad. I think it's a good thing. Even if the AI says, you're supposed to do this, but you chose the other thing, he's going to do what people chose, because people would want to do the things that they chose much more than this is the right way to behave, and you'll be happy this way. No, that's not going to go in any system that people at the end people are going to be happier when they make a choice and they follow that choice, and they can say, okay, I made a mistake, let's go and do something else. That's still going to happen, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is this is another view too, that it can be wary for, especially if you're, let's say, a religious person and you believe in an infallible God. Um, is there a danger to which the polity perceive the the AI legislative body as infallible?
What does invaluable mean?
I
What is
suppose the most basic definition is without error.
without error? Um, I don't think AI is without error. And as we say, even if it doesn't have any error, it's still going to have that tension all the time. So, uh, It's just something to help us govern and become a better society, to help us get there quicker and help us get there in a way that we actually see what's happening. And that's going to make us more aware and have better choices. Like a Waze system where you don't have to follow what the Waze says, but if you make a mistake in the other tunnel, you'll give you a new route to get to that same place. I don't think it's a God entity or an entity, a religious entity that you can, kind of Wizard of Oz kind of thing. It's a machine that has a very clever algorithm and it can process much more data than any human can even perceive in his whole lifetime quickly and give you answers that will help you on your way. But it's not a god kind of entity. Um, I think that's more of a science fiction kind of a book about people believing in this AI kind of thing. But it's not. I don't think that's something that we should be scared of. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps people are going to worship some kind of an AI.
No, it's possible. And
Yeah, it is. It is
yeah,
possible.
I mean, you can program an AI to speak and act in the person of God,
Yeah.
and you can worship that.
If somebody really wants to worship something like that, then it might be possible. Yeah. If you remember that it's taking all this data from human entered internet um, stuff, data, then I don't know how godly it can really be because it's not getting its data from godly entities. So I think the best you can get is what human perceived as God as a kind of outcome. But interesting idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, finally, what are some of the most practical steps that you can think of that you would find would lead up to AIcracy being realized?
So I think that having that minister, the AI minister in Albania, is a step. I don't think it's going to be in the right direction because there's no foundation behind it right now. Um, but I think that opening up all the laws to be reviewed by AI be the first step, and having AI show the society that it's the government what each law affects on the abundance of people living in that country would be another step forward um, towards people seeing that how AI can actually help government. Actually, on one hand, it will help governments make better laws. On the other hand, it will show people how this can actually really help uh, get better laws. And then you'd have to implement the safety procedures, which three different AI systems working on the same ideas, a group of people overseeing them, making sure that there's no monkey business happening behind the scenes and stuff like that. And I think that's is a kind of a blueprint going forward. As I said, another thing is that it had to go in parallel with this AI that can help people realize themselves. And the data between your personal AI helper and the government one is unreachable. But the data that you're talking to this AI to help your personal life should never go. The data you use there should never go to the AI that's creating the laws. The AI that's creating laws has to see the macro of everything, and it can't have your personal decisions there and how what your personal beliefs are within this area that helps you realize your life. So your choice there is more natural towards the two systems. It's just like in physics, you have the quantum physics and you have the regular physics, and they both work, but there is a kind of like a quantum jump between them. Again, there should be the data shouldn't be moving from one system to another system.
Mhm. Okay, well, I think that's where we can end the show. Thank you very much, Ellie
Okay.
Lopian, for joining the program.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time. It's been really interesting.